5 people are on this track. One person is on that one. You can pull the lever. The train will miss 5 and hit 1. Then you look closer. The one person has your shoes. Your hand suddenly gets very philosophical. This is utilitarianism when the math gets personal. The basic idea sounds almost rude in its simplicity. Ask what happens after each choice. Count the good. Count the harm. Choose the path with the better total. No crown gets extra points. No rich guy gets a bonus token. No one gets ignored because they're far away. Your happiness counts. Mine counts. A stranger's counts too. That part is easy to miss. Most of us already do a little moral math. We just do it with our own face printed on the calculator. My holiday matters. My job matters. My kid gets the last cookie. Sorry, distant stranger. The cookie has spoken. Utilitarianism reaches over and says, hold on. Why should distance make pain smaller? Why should your happiness arrive with a VIP wristband? If 2 people hurt the same amount, the hurt is still the same size. That instinct is serious. It asks you to look past the little fence around your own life. So imagine a waiting room. There are 6 people. There are 5 medicine tokens. 1 token helps 1 person for the day. You don't know anyone there. The clerk puts the tokens on the table. Giving them to 5 people seems better than throwing them in a drawer. That doesn't feel monstrous. It feels like noticing that strangers are real. This is why utilitarianism has survived every joke about spreadsheets. It cares about consequences, actual consequences. Not just elegant intentions in a nice hat. Picture a city bus with 1 empty seat. An exhausted nurse is standing near the door. Your friend is also standing. You know your friend. The nurse looks like they have been holding the day together with tape. You can offer the seat to either person. There is no grand trolley music. Nobody is tied to a rail. That is exactly why the little choice matters. Your first impulse may be loyalty. The utilitarian impulse is to ask who would benefit more. Maybe the nurse has worked 12 hours. Maybe your friend has a broken ankle hidden by loose jeans. The point is not that a calculator can see through denim. The point is that the other person's situation belongs in the picture. Good moral attention changes the question before it answers it. You stop asking, what do I owe my people? You start asking, who is affected and how? That can make you kinder. It can also make you unbearable at a dinner party. Sorry, the empty seat has consequences. John Stuart Mill gave one famous classical version of the view. Very roughly, actions are right when they tend to promote happiness, wrong when they tend to produce the reverse. The word tend matters. We're talking about the likely shape of a world after a choice, not one glowing moment in isolation. So far, the lever looks pretty useful. 5 people live, 1 person dies. The calculator points one way, but a lever is a suspiciously tidy object. It sits in a clean field. It has no lawyers, no memory. No one asks who installed it. Real life has a second switch. Are you judging this one act? Or are you choosing a rule for everyone to live under? The first version stares at today's lever. Pull it if this particular pull creates the better result. The second version backs up. It asks what rules would make life go better if people actually knew them and lived with them. Now our tiny lever grows brakes. Maybe a rule against pushing innocent people makes everyone safer. Maybe promises work because people expect them to work. Maybe a hospital needs rules. Nobody wants a surgeon doing surprise arithmetic over the bed. That isn't utilitarianism cheating on the test. Consequences include trust. They include fear. They include what happens after everyone learns the rule. The boring breaks might be part of the good. But the machine has another problem. What exactly is it adding? Happiness? Pleasure? Relief? Years of friendship? The chance to stop a bad Tuesday from becoming a bad decade? Our cartoon calculator needs a meter, so we feed it a balloon for joy. We feed it a red knot for pain. The needle spins. It coughs out a receipt. The receipt is blank. That's funny, because it is a real difficulty. People disagree about what makes a life go well. People disagree about how different harms compare. People are also terrible at predicting the future. Give us a lever, and we will confidently forecast a weather system. Still, uncertainty doesn't make consequences disappear. If you dump paint into a river, Being fuzzy about fish feelings isn't a moral force field. Break a promise and the future changes. Skip a cheap chance to help someone, and that future changes too. Utilitarianism keeps pointing at the ripples. And here is where the story gets stranger. The scariest question isn't really this: would you sacrifice one person to save 5? The scariest question is, who gets to decide that this is the choice? At first, your hand held the lever. Then the lever became a machine. Now a crowd grabs the handle. Everyone says they are helping. The scoreboard goes up. One small figure falls through a red chute behind it. That figure has a complaint. Not a tiny complaint. The kind that ruins the nice, clean sound of the word total. You cannot use me as a spare part just because other people would benefit. I might have a right not to be shoved onto the sidetrack. Fairness isn't only about giving everyone one token at the start. There may be things you cannot do to one person, even on the way to a better pile of tokens. This is the criticism that keeps haunting utilitarianism. An aggregate can improve. Somebody can still get a deal that feels impossible to justify. Picture a town with a rising happiness scoreboard. Then look down. One person is stuck in the basement, turning the crank. The total might be real. The basement is real too. Mill did not simply shrug at justice. He spent a whole chapter trying to connect justice and utility, and later consequentialists built more elaborate rule-based versions. They say stable rights can protect people. Fair procedures and reliable promises can too. Worlds with those things might go better over time. That reply has bite. You would not want to live where anyone could announce a greater good. Then borrow your kidney. You would not trust a court that recalculated your rights every morning. You would not enjoy a friendship that audited every hug for net benefit. Even the calculator wants you to keep the relationship alive. But the objection does not vanish. What if a rule has one ugly exception? What if breaking a promise really would prevent a disaster? What if the breaks themselves cause harm somewhere else? The red knot comes back. It always comes back. There is no safe little drawer for consequences. You cannot put them away and forget them. Doing nothing has consequences. Following rules has consequences. Refusing to choose still leaves the train moving. That is utilitarianism at its best. That habit makes moral laziness harder. Look at the stranger outside your camera frame. Then ask whether your clean hands are clean because you helped nobody. Picture a policy that feels fair near you. Then picture people too far away to interrupt dinner, paying for it. That is also why its worst version is frightening. Give one confident person a giant happiness machine. Let them hide every disputed value inside it. Let them call dissent a rounding error. Now the lever is not a thought experiment. It is a crown with a spreadsheet. So what do you do with this idea? You don't throw away the calculator. You also don't give it the keys to the city. Use it as a light. Aim it at the consequences you were about to ignore. Then look up from the light. Ask who is holding it. Ask what it cannot see. Ask whether the person on the sidetrack gets a say before the lever moves. Back at the tracks, the red knot is wrapped around your hand. 5 people are still there. 1 person is still there. But they are not 5 marks and 1 mark anymore. They are 6 full people. The point was never to stop counting. The point is to remember what the count is made of. Numbers can warn you that someone matters. They cannot, by themselves, tell you what a person is worth.